They didn't totally scare me away, but they didn't wow me.
Even when we killed the guy on the very bad wire work.
No!
Yeah.
Yeah. What do we have? Dream Sorcerer, Season 1, Episode 5.
Can we skip it?
Are we skipping this one? I like this one.
Why?
See?
I mean, I like the concept of it. I like, I think it's something everybody identifies with, right? It's like,
Nightmares?
Dreams coming to life, like being, that whole thing. It's like, how many times you woke up in the morning, you're like, oh my gosh, that dream was so real, holy cow. And you feel, I think I don't know, it touches me because sometimes dreams really are so real and you wake up feeling like your life is a piece of it. And, that's what dreams are anyway. But I don't know, I kind of just identified with it.
Bro, this makes me so happy.
It makes me so unhappy. I have so many issues with this episode.
Holly's
it was
been
painful.
so upset. We've actually postponed taping this for weeks to get Holly to come to terms with the fact that we are here and talking about it.
Yeah, it took me weeks to convince Drew that we should just skip it. So moving on.
I tell you, the one thing, the lighting and the thing and the sets and how you put everybody, I have to agree, it felt like a different episode. It didn't feel like it connected to number 4 and number 3. Just the way it looked and then how you went into this dream world and the separation. It looked like experimental time a little bit.
That's when we didn't have enough money to do the special effects that the scripts required. It was not the good formula. And it was also super violent too. You start out on the woman crushed to death in her bed. I was like, Jesus. Well, it was also a little harsh.
It's tough to also follow Dead Man Dating. To go from arguably just one of the best episodes that the show had ever made. I mean, not even at that point now in hindsight, looking back, to then following it with this. I understand the follow-up act was going to be tough no matter what. But
but this one definitely
I understand.
felt.
What were some of the other things that you had that you took umbrage with?
Gosh, Piper was weird.
Piper was weird.
All the love stuff. I don't know what she was thinking. Piper was a little out of character.
Well, I want to let everyone know exactly what Piper was thinking because Piper wants a man who is single, smart, endowed.
Employed.
Employed, who loves sleeping in on Sundays, sunset bike rides, cuddling by a roaring fire, late night talks, and a man who loves love.
As much as I do.
Yeah. Oh, you memorized it too. Do you still have it?
It's ingrained in my brain because I hate it so much.
So what does Holly look for in love? Just out of curiosity.
Have you seen Mike?
Handsome. Damn handsome. Okay, so you need handsome. He's
tall.
Dangerous. Actually, you know what's interesting? Mike is very much Phoebe's
totally.
Scented candles, body oils, Italian sheets, lust, danger, bike rides on a motorcycle.
Yeah. He's probably on his motorcycle right now. It's so annoying.
Okay, well, there you have it. Now you know. There
you have it, folks.
So are you saying that really, in your personal life, you're more like Phoebe the character than Piper the character?
Oh, no.
Okay, I just wanted hot takes. I want to make sure everyone knows.
Piper was having a moment. She was having a moment. We're going to call it She Was Having a Moment.
She was having a moment. All right.
Yeah, this whole episode. Anyway. I am glad that we addressed safe sex, though, because we've been called not progressive enough. So, yes, there was a whole safe sex discussion.
Is that with Hans? I'm forgetting the safe sex part.
It was Phoebe that says, don't worry, we had safe sex, a lot of safe sex. See, ingrained in my brain, literally I want to stab myself in the eye.
And then
with
this dude rolls in
here.
shirtless and just goes to your fridge and I guess starts chugging milk from the carton, and that's dangerous.
Well, it could be.
I mean, in COVID times.
It could be. So disgusting. Anyway,
moving on. Okay,
moving on.
By the way, that was it. We could have that could have been the episode.
Let's not talk about Piper, the chef's chopping skills. Like nobody helped me. Nobody helped me. Like they should have cut my hands out. Because clearly I didn't cook then, ever.
Do you cook now?
I do. I had to. I had too many children and they need food.
That's true. Don't you just order in?
Not where I live.
Yeah, how does Postmates work?
It doesn't. It works in Seattle, but it doesn't happen.
Can you get
here.
something, if you're craving something from Seattle, can they just fly it over to you?
Amazon can. Sure.
Wow. Sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. What else do I want to complain about?
Yeah, tell me more about what you hated about it.
Well, what I hated about it was obviously the whole dreamscape we didn't have enough money for situation. But then the rest of it was shot really beautifully. Like Shannon's in the tub and it's really beautiful. And then the guy shows up with the creepy sponge. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, this could have been so much better. Could have been, should have been, would have been, with a few more dollar signs behind it. And experience, that was always the production standpoint, with Charmed was you can create a whole new world every episode. So it's not just like you're going into the kitchen or you're going into the office or you're going into the police station. I mean, we literally had no boundaries. So it was tough for our construction crew and our visual effects and special effects. So got to hand it to them. But this was this whole episode was like the struggle bus episode.
Do you remember how they shot it? Like, how did they pull off that kind of dreamscape?
I tried to stay out of that stage because I didn't need to be around it. But literally, it's like this false, top of the building and then just screens everywhere where you felt like you were in a really bad rave.
So at that point, 1996, green screen really wasn't.
No, that's why I'm
it barely existed at that point, right?
Weird. Silk sheets of
right, and then just layer it and out of focus and nothing to really build behind it.
Or hand paint. I remember by the time I was on the show, it was like they had taken photos and then had blown them up and and hung
the
them
backdrops.
As backdrops.
I mean, you really felt like you were on Gilligan's Island for sure.
But what's insane is I watched the season finale of Westworld last night, and there was a behind the scenes talking about how they were able to do all these 3-dimensional worlds and stuff that they, these false realities. And nowadays, and all Marvel does this as well, is the whole set is a dome of, 8, 12K screens, massive screens. So they're actually projecting real images on there. And then have you seen any of these images behind the scenes?
Listen, I try not to watch good news shows because it makes me bitter. Just saying. Stay away from TV as much as possible.
Well, you are on one today.
Well,
Episode 5. This is what we got.
I had this conversation with Drew many years ago when what were you doing? I was writing something. And you were like, well, have you seen this? Have you seen this? And I was like, no, and no. And you were like, well, why? You have to watch what's out there. And I was like, no, I don't. I really don't. I don't need to know. This is not my issue. I do not need to know. And this is the same reason. It will make me bitter.
Well, shit's progressed, right?
Yes,
of course.
I'm sure it has.
And there's some incredible stories out there. I just want you to watch the behind the scenes of this so you can see how far the evolution of special effects and things have become.
The new technology is amazing.
Yeah, it's going to make me bitter.
It looks
what
real.
They're building now. They're down in Peachtree. A friend of my acquaintance has built a new. They won an award through Disney, whatever. He's opened his own studio, and it's one of these literally you walk in the room, everything's lit. It's all that projected screen imagery. It's you light the box, you bring in a table, you whatever, you change the background. I could be in a skyrise, I could be at the top of Mount Everest. In, out, you're done in 8 hours, send it in,
because everything's already it's already projected in a way that makes it look so real. It's insane how cool.
Yeah.
It'd be amazing if
not cheap.
There was a reboot of Charmed now with the original cast and what we'd actually be able to pull off.
Well, that was my only interest in a reboot was because the special effects needed to be adjusted.
Right. Or, if there's some special effects whiz out there who just wants to have fun, go back with the original episodes and recut them with new effects.
There's no way. It's trash.
But
Throw it out.
let's talk about
Skipping
the episode
ahead.
a little more.
All right, fine. Let's talk about the episode. So,
speaking of dreams, Dream Sorcerer, the whole thing, and maybe Shannon had a take on that of what that meant to her, and dreams and having bad dreams, or people feeling like you're ever attacked in a dream, and what that means. And I know we've all done our breaking down of dreams and what dreams mean, and maybe that had something for her character. But a question for you is, as the show, I don't know, maybe it's a little too early, but did you start to have any sort of magical dreams, or were demons appearing ever? Did you have dreams that kind of connected to the show that you kind of brought home from work?
We didn't sleep a lot in the early days. We were working probably at this point, when we were literally on the struggle bus like this, probably 14, 15-hour days. Because we just were like juggling all the things we couldn't get together between stunts and special effects and all the girl stuff. So I'm telling you, like, I don't remember sleeping. I remember being on the stage all the time, from literally dawn to dawn.
Dusk. Dawn to dawn. Are we talking about this episode specifically, or basically this time in your life?
No, this basically, like, the first year, the first season was really, really, really finding our footing and falling on our face a lot. Like, we were actually, like, this hospital was like the Dexter Hospital, so it's super creepy. And it was like in the valley on Ventura, completely like, it was an abandoned hospital. It was super creepy. And like, so we had all these weird locations all over the place. I mean, it was a struggle.
You're not happy.
No, I'm not happy. Can we skip
So now you've been having the nightmares since.
Right.
Exactly. This is the nightmare.
All right, that's okay.
It's like you're trying to block it out.
Hey, BK, that was good. That was really good.
That was funny.
Dude, sometimes you drop some shit out of nowhere. I'm like, yes, that's fucking great.
But it's funny, like, my favorite part, the only part about this episode that made me laugh, was literally is that Prue just gives no shit about our B storyline. She's just no shits given. She's just like all in her A storyline, and we call it, and she's just like, whatever, you people.
I think my favorite part,
makes me laugh.
Yeah,
What?
but also
I have to say, towards the end though, when you're in there and there's 10 guys winking at you, buying your drinks, and you have your little kiss, and it was that rivaled, another episode. You weren't angry with that guy or choice in front of you. I was like, who is that neighbor Dan? Like, who is that? Who? I kept looking, rewind. I'm like,
where's Dale?
She's kind of into it.
Where is Dale?
Where is Dale right now?
Still
He's in the attic.
But I mean, seriously,
that would have been
though,
really great. See, if I was a producer then, I would have been like, get Dale out of the attic. He is now in love with Phoebe.
Oh, no.
That would have been me.
Well, maybe I was impervious to a spell at that point.
Oh, that's no fun.
I was with my other family.
Oh, you probably were. That's where you went.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking at some notes here. I'm like, the first thing that came in, I was like, oh, this gem too. We cannot, I'd be remiss if we don't talk about, are your parents terrorists? Because baby, you the bomb.
Mm-hmm. Hey.
That's good.
Yeah. Well,
we could use that now.
Credit to our writers right there.
That was strong. I also was wondering where the cat was. And then I'm like, wait, we haven't seen the cat since episode 1. I'm like, 10 minutes later, there's the cat.
And then there's the cat. Kid is helping.
Kid. Yeah. You were kind of gaslighting Prue a little bit. That was a note that I had that I was like, interesting.
What? When I called her on the corded phone?
Well,
corded phone to the
like
brick. I'm on a corded phone. This tells you what we were dealing with at the time, in the time period that we were shooting in. I'm on a corded phone.
What's a corded phone?
It's a landline. And she's on a cell phone that's like as big as her head. It's a brick cell phone.
But you kept telling her like, no, it's not. You're just tired. You're exhausted.
You're just
it's exhaustion, and it's not a demon.
Right. Well, that's apropos.
Yeah.
There you go.
But I feel like you would normally be supportive of that.
Listen, I had my own issues going on. Okay.
Yeah,
I was
every guy loved
love.
you. Such a tough issue.
Loving love.
BK, did you have any problems with this episode, or did you actually really love it?
For me, conceptually, I like the idea, how it went from a story idea to script and how it wound up being shot. I guess are a bunch of different things. I like the concept of being terrorized in your dreams. I mean, it's a bit of, isn't that Candyman? And it's a bunch of different movies that we've seen, and it's a theme that I think runs with all of us, waking up to nightmares or being terrorized by it. So I do like the concept of it. Like we said, it felt like they were shooting 3 different episodes. They were trying to find their look, I suppose. And that's why I said I don't think it matched the first 4. And I think the show was still trying to find its look. But, again, the girls' performance are fantastic. I love the bubbliness of the love spell, as opposed to, when you compare the two, the spell that they cast and then, the dream cast sorcerer, he was also looking for love at the same time. So, it's just 2 different ways of going about it, and neither of them worked. And, again, the greater good wins out. So I love the concept of what they were going for. And, maybe you needed an hour and a half for it. To really flush it out. The idea was more like for a movie than maybe 42 minutes. But, I love the idea.
Well, dude, to that end, arguably one of the most popular shows right now ever on TV is Stranger Things. And this whole last season is Vecna. And Vecna is basically haunting the dreams. Like they go into this dream space, this dream world where then they can interact with him. So I'm not saying the Duffer Brothers stole Dream Sorcerers, but I'm not saying
Nightmare on
that.
Elm Street.
I'm not saying that either. Yeah, big charm fans.
I noticed, you know what? I noticed there was like 10 writers on this episode, and it kind of shows because everybody was going different directions on this one. Everybody. We were just trying to literally like string it together.
Right. Well, look, when you do 180 plus episodes of something, they're not all going to be home runs.
Yeah, but this was like number 5. And you know who used to say that to me?
Who?
The person in charge. And when I would complain about a script, and, he would say to me, well, Holly, they all can't be great. And I was like, that's unacceptable.
That's fair. I mean, look, if you're not striving for greatness, I understand the problem. Like no one ever just goes out to make something to be shitty, right? You're hoping like, oh,
yeah,
this is
but there shouldn't
awesome.
be like filler episodes either. Like I said, just skip it then.
Well, that's what's changed about television. So now most shows 8 to 13 eps, right? Unless you're on network and it's a procedural where it's 22 episodes and each episode is just kind of like a regurgitated, varying by like tiny degrees of whatever the crime or whatever you need to do. If it's a med thing, it's a whatever medical procedure, right? But like all these kind of cooler, interesting shows that are on the streamers now, it's like 8, 13 episodes. So there is no filler. It's all tight. Everything matters. Right. But again, it's just evolved storytelling.
So I was right.
But it seems like so much of those type of shows are basically one season storyline. And I think that was kind of the beauty of Charmed. Yes, you had the overriding season storyline, kinda, but it wasn't one big story. The season wasn't like, oh, okay, that's what happened this season. We did that almost every episode in a procedural way, right?
Yeah, which was really cool.
Whereas now when you watch a Stranger Things, when you watch an Ozark, it's season 1 takes you from here to there. There's the storyline rides through the whole season. And I don't know if Charmed really had more than, the greater goods and watching the girls' growth. And, if they really had a breakdown of like a point A, where the girls are in point, season episode 1 to where they're going to be in episode 22. Maybe a loose idea of that. And had they talked about that with you girls at all of where they wanted you to kind of where you were and where, in the progression, they'd like to see you at the end of season 1?
Well, no. And that was one of my other misgivings, is that we couldn't have continuous storylines. And it was part of Aaron Spelling's sort of formula where he wanted every episode to be able to stand alone so that it could be rerun in any order syndication dictated.
Yeah. I mean, that's the procedural way, right?
Yeah, that was his formula. And it was also part of the reason we didn't do a lot of holiday shows, which was a bummer.
That makes sense.
But yeah, because he wanted them to be able to be played. So that was actually like a note that we had and sort of had to stick with for a while until like we just like demanded a Halloween show because it was just silly for us not to do it. But yeah, that was kind of like a big frustration for me just as a working actor to be like, why are we saying who we are and what we do in every episode? Like the exposition was real and that was part of the formula.
Right. Does that continue throughout the whole first season?
No. I mean, finally, when we started to have relationships that actually stuck, you had to continue that storyline.
Right.
Or it was just, back and forth all the time. So we did like eventually sort of branch out of that because you have to. It can't be a Gilligan's Island every time.
No, for sure. And I remember, at least this was what was kind of conveyed to me at the time when Chris kind of finally showed up, that there was going to be like a season long plus of arc, like a B or C storyline that was going to kind of be the thread that pushed that forward. And I think it started to change a little bit, at least in my season.
But that took a while. Yeah, it took a while to get to that point.
Season 5, 6 or whatever. So, yeah.
So great. So out of 5 stars for the Dream Sorcerer, episode 5, season 1. Holly, you would give it
You
give it a 1?
Is 0 a number?
No, you have to give it something. You could give it a half star.
Half. 0.5.
You get half of 1.
A half a star?
A half star.
0.5.
BK, what about you?
Not knowing the show, playing that game of I've only watched 5 episodes. Out of the 5, I'd say it's probably a 3. It's not great. It's not horrible. I don't want to crush it. I don't want to kill it. Again, I love the storyline. I like what the girls are doing. Their relationships evolving. An outsider's point of view, I'm like, okay, I'm not mad at it. I'm not gonna stop watching this show because of this. Right? The girls' performance and the chemistry keeps me coming back for episode 6. So they didn't totally scare me away, but they didn't wow me.
Even when we killed the guy on the very bad wire work?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, like literally skip to the end. Like literally.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a 2.5.
Wow.
Out of 5. And the only, I think the concept is cool. I like this idea of like your Freddy Kruegers, your Vecnas, your Vince from Fast and the Furious is coming in and invading your dreams. And you'll always nitpick on the things that you see, that your hands and the cutting board, like the concept in the story, like it's there, it's cool, it's interesting. Someone haunting your dreams. I actually think that's, we have reoccurring dreams all the time as, people, as humans. And this is kind of playing on that, that your worst nightmare, no pun intended. So yeah, where the execution could have been better, of course, then I have to take into consideration, this was in 1998 and you guys are still finding your footing, but I don't think it was the worst thing I've ever seen. And there were some things that I found really funny, genuinely, about the episode. Holly's so upset.
I'm so upset.
I'm sorry. Fine, I'll take it. I'm going to take that half star off for you in solidarity. Thanks. I'll drop it to a 2.
Thank you.
I'll drop it to a 2. Out of the first 5 that we've watched, it's by far and away not the best one.
Okay, well, the next one is worse, but it's bad in a better way. It's like it's so bad it's good.
Okay, now that I can work with.
Exactly.
I love it so bad it's good.
Yeah.
This I get it. Like, look, upon rewatching or watching for the first time, I'll probably never watch Dream Sorcerer again.
No, it's a no.
That's a no.
It's
so maybe
no.
BK, will you ever watch Dream Sorcerer again?
I wasn't angry at it. If it comes up and on TNT or on Peacock TV and it just happens to be there, I don't know that I sit and watch it like it's a Shawshank Redemption and it's just on and I need to just watch this now. I might click away from it. But it didn't lose me on the show. And it's interesting. We forget this is a show still trying to find itself, and
that's true.
I think the girls are still it was an experiment, and the girls out delivered for what the episode was, and I think that's part of how they kept the fan base attracted. A lot of shows you see come on 3, 4, 5 episodes, and it's like this show's over. Right? They've lost their chemistry. Maybe they had the same bad thing. And, without the actors kind of bringing the audience in, they lose the show because of one bad episode in writing and production value and whatever. And I have to say, I think, this kind of proved that the girls, you could give them, mumble jumble on a piece of paper and have them stare at a wall, and their chemistry is what's going to sell the show. And I think that's kind of what it says to me in episode 5, that you guys are going to keep going forward.
I will say this one other thing is, it was also touched into something that I think everyone would want to kind of explore when you all of a sudden find out that you have powers. Like, so I could totally relate with Phoebe, like, come on, like, yes, we obviously we have a greater good purpose that we have to be serving, but like, can't we also just play around and have some fun with it for us as well? Like, I think every single person given the powers that you guys were given would kind of want to play around and have some fun with it. Right. And so that felt real to me. I related to that. I was like, yeah, when are you going to just like flex a little bit and have some fun for yourself? And so the fact that you were talked into finding the love of your life.
I get that.
I'm so upset. But that's true. Like I'm being dead serious. Like I'm trying to find, now maybe I'm trying to find something too specific, but like I would think that the moment I had these powers, if I were given these powers, like I'd try to flex a little bit while still maintaining the greater good kind of trajectory. No, Holly? No.
Huh.
It's a no for her. Listen, she gave it a 0.5 star.
Yeah, I think we gave a good review from it. So let's who's our guest today? What are we doing? What are we doing?
See, this will make me like this episode a little bit more because we have Dorian, which I'm really excited about.
Dorian Gregory, everyone. Who played Daryl Morris. Pretty much the entire series, correct? Like he was in the first ep and he was there till the end.
He survived.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you've all been waiting for him.
I have.
Holly has.
Hey.
What's up, man?
You guys look amazing. What's going on?
You look amazing.
What is up?
Wow.
Where are you?
None of us have aged one bit.
I definitely have. It's just pixelated.
No. Brian, hey, Drew, everybody, Holly.
So Dorian, my friend,
yeah.
Overall, how have you been? What have you been up to? Well, first and foremost, before we even get to that, did you have a chance to watch Dream Sorcerer, the episode that we were talking about?
I did. And
Look, see, his face looked like mine. See? It's painful, isn't it? You can say it's painful.
No. I wasn't going to say that. I want to say I've never watched my work. Never.
Oh,
and
you're
just
one of
for
those.
This episode, in my entire career, I don't watch my work. I watched it. And I've had a chance to distance myself and see it for what it is. I just thought we were young in that. It was 5th episode, first year.
Yes.
We were all finding our rhythm. But the magic as far as, this sounds so flippin' corny, I'm sorry, but there's a reason why we've been around for so long. Watching you and watching the 3 of you do what you do, it was so refreshing and pure and natural. And I loved the way that the story was unfolding as far as the duality of the sisterhood bond and then finding your way and figuring out what you want. And then we could talk about, as far as how this story was constructed. Morpheus was interesting, meaning the dream sorcerer. That's where it is rooted. Right. And then TW and I finding our rhythm and our chemistry. So looking at it from a detached, distant standpoint with nothing else in there, I love the newness of it. Right. And the beauty of it and the chemistry of it from what I was observing.
Right. Yeah. Okay. All right.
So much.
I like that you reframed it for me a little bit because I just wanted to skip this entire episode.
Did you? Why? Tell me. Because you got all the layers in there as far as the why. You're not watching what you're doing. You got a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah. It was just such a struggle. We were still struggling to find our characters, struggling to figure out how to get a day done with stunts and special effects, and literally just trying to cram it all into a suitable work day. Yeah. And this one was rough.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys had, I can't fathom as far as what your days must have been like, specifically addressing that. 16 hours, you got to be pulling just crazy days, day in and day out, 5 days a week, and trying to find that rhythm, the newness of that rhythm. And all those beats, when you start talking stunts and everything else involved, that just it's a whole different ballgame that people may not understand how that works. You're watching this hour, but you're watching how much stuff that you've actually put into the can for this hour,
Right. Yeah, that's a whole nother unit. It's a whole nother stunt unit. Yeah. It's a whole nother green screen unit. And we didn't have any of those things. But I was so relieved when you and TW came on screen because I was like, okay, great. So at least this part won't suck.
That's very sweet.
This will not suck.
The little beats in between is what I'm fascinated by when it comes to you. It's how you do what you do, and you embody a moment. And that's what I enjoyed watching, And I don't know if anybody can connect with what I'm trying to convey, but they're just little subtleties that are just so you. That you add into that character, right? And I've seen a broad scope of your work, and you add different facets of your being to everything that you do. And that's the fun part. You are joyous, you're fun, you're beautiful, you're intelligent, and you have a strength, and you add those moments. You can't miss it.
I think you're making me blush, Dorian.
It's just what it is. It's true.
Wait. I think he was talking to Brian.
He was talking to Brian.
I was saying the same thing. Is a show that was finding itself. Episode 5, and I said, yes, technologically, maybe the storyline wasn't completely fleshed out, but the girls and you and the acting. Kept me interested. Nobody would throw the show away at episode 5 here because of the chemistry everybody had. And it really brought it to life, and you'd like the characters. And I said this before you came on, so I agree. And I think, now there's two kind of likes it, and they don't like it at all.
Whoa, wait, no, hold on. I was just, let's not get crazy.
It was our ugly duckling episode for sure.
But a question I posed to Holly, and I'll pose to you as well, Dorian, is so many shows, have one singular storyline that for that season and for this season. So for you coming on, was there an overriding storyline that you guys knew you were going to play from the beginning of the season to the end? Or had it become just, I'm the procedural guy, come in, say a few things, go out? Like it was still kind of new for you guys finding your character, what you were setting up at the same time.
We were finding our rhythm, and it's not a question of procedure. Of course, procedural. There are layers to this. This man had a kid. He has a wife. He's got tenure. He was the ranking officer, and you got this young gun Mel Gibson type of thing. We're just TW had just come off of Time Cop, and he brought that rhythm of Time Cop, which was a very different show, on to Charmed. And so, yes, there's procedural, but I never look at anything, I've had the joy of playing these roles for a bit of time, but that's not what I look. I try to find the truth in the moment and the connectivity as far as who I'm feeding off of. So it's not working anything out. It's about listening and buying into what you're saying. And you're using the mechanics of what what you're surrounded by to give the truth of it. I mean, if I'm given a police file, there's the mechanics. That's a tool to give truth of it. And I'm listening to what he's saying. If you listen to the first scene, as far as him setting up the whole storyline where she was locked into she had an apartment and the doors were locked and she had every bone in her body broken. And then boom, us as being partners, we say at the same time, murder. I hate it when you say that. There is truth in that. And you gave me the tools to accentuate and focus on the truth of that moment. You know, we're in the police station, all that stuff. So for me, nothing's worked out for me ever. It's a question of being honest about who this person is and taking all this beautiful stuff that I'm surrounded by and enhancing the reality and the truth of that moment.
I like that.
Thank you.
Dorian Gregory, everyone. Come on. Come on.
That's great.
Like
so you take away the idea of, you don't care episode 22 what's going to happen. You don't care. It's all about the now. It's all about this moment.
You got to be in the moment.
I don't. I'm just going to answer that real quick. I'm not trying to just dominate the mic, but
dominate.
No, I don't. In life, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So how am I going to? I know there is a methodology to that, but I have to be fully vested with what I'm presented in. I've got a future in my mind, but I don't have a pre-written future. So I impose the future in my mind as far as the character is concerned with the script and what's happening in this moment and what happened. Of course, we're all a product of every moment before this, from childhood to last year to 10 years ago. So you have that, but I don't know what's going to happen next year. But I have what my mind believes is going, or what I want, or what my dreams or what my aspirations are.
Were you cognizant when you were on set in, wearing Daryl's suits, vibe, feeling? Were you cognizant of that? Did you bring that too?
Episode 5, no. Okay. And that's my loose approach. And we're talking a ton of years ago. I'm such a different, evolved person as an artist now. And so that young man, his approach, I had the skeletal roots as far as my understanding of the beauty of what we do. But that dude is light years away from who I am right now.
Of course.
I'm not sure how to answer that, but yeah, I had all that skeletal framework, and I did my best.
Walk us through the process of the first audition, booking the show, becoming the regular, and what was going on in 1996 before episode 1, 98 before you got on. Where were you? And then to get it and be there. I mean, it must have been exciting.
Of course, man, it's surreal. I got this call 9 months after they were looking for the guy, meaning I came in so late in the process. They've been looking for this dude, right? And what I got from my representation was, they're looking for a Mel Gibson, Danny Glover type chemistry, right? I'm like, okay. So I went in, and how that stuff goes, man. It's the gladiator pit. It was for me anyway. We 5 times going back. We go into the room where you have the last choices. Everybody's coming out one after another. You go home, you sit, you stay. And then I come in this V-neck formation with Aaron Spelling in the middle. And I've got the network, the producers and the writers and blah, blah, blah. And what made it happen was one moment. He saw my work, Aaron did. And Aaron's the one that did this. He just gave one note. You guys are friends. You like this person. And you may be his ranking officer, but give me that. There's history. Give me that. It's an obvious note, but you can caught up in the trap of playing what's on the paper and this friction that's going on and not adding the humanity to it. And that one note, even though we all know these things, I needed that when I was going through the process of delivering that, because I obviously missed that nuanced beat. And when I added that layer, it gave the authoritative presence that was needed for that scene, but I also gave the humanity of, this is the guy I know, and this is my partner, and this is my friend. And so the layering of those two things gave that scene the energy that it needed. It just wasn't one note.
So you knew before you walked out, or was it a day later?
Dude, I found out 5 days later. The only thing that that helped was I was one of the last two in the gladiator pit. We started out with 9, and it was me and one other dude, and they kept calling me back in. And even after, the last time they called me back in was when Aaron gave me that note, and I still stayed out after the next guy went in, and then we were saying, thank you guys very much, and we'll talk soon. And I think it was maybe 5 days later.
So what were those next 5 days like?
You know how this stuff is, man.
Yeah.
You don't think about it. You go and you the only thing I do is I do the best that I can in the room and I leave it. It's either meant for me and it's not. But as long as I'm confident in doing the best I can do, I'm cool. And sometimes the best I can do needs improvement. That's okay. Because I've gotten the gift of, oh, you know what? I missed this beat, or maybe I could have tried this. I've gotten that gift for my next thing. This is all about the next job always. I don't care what job you're on. We're creators. And so we're always vested in what we're doing, but we're always knowing that there's more to do and there's more available always.
Yeah, I mean, when I was little and auditioning in New York, that's kind of the way I would deal with it, because pilot season was so busy in New York and you just had to go from one to the next, to the next, to the next. And getting around New York was not easy. So I got into this habit of just throwing out the script when we actually had paper scripts, just throwing out the script. As soon as I got out on the street and done with the appointment, I would just throw it out and move on. And that was sort of like my symbolic, gotta go. Moving forward. But also, that's a testament. A lot of people don't understand how invested Aaron was in the whole process, because that's usually a note like that you would get from a director or a writer, but not necessarily the executive, creator, producer of the show. And he was so invested. And that goes to show, he picks his people who he champions. So to me, in that moment when he gave you that note, that was him telling everybody else in the room, I really like this guy and I'm going to show you what else he can do.
You gave me that makes me, and I'm like, wow.
That's true. It's really true.
That makes me feel good.
Yeah.
I just want to add one note about him. Every year, never missed a beat. He gave a Christmas present. I mean, that sound, and he remembers your birthday. There were so many things, and he remembered you when he saw you. And this man is, he's been around forever and he's done such legendary things. And these things really, really touched me as far as him. It was personalized. It wasn't just some thing that you can normally get. It was personalized. And he remembered that,
Yeah, he was really great like that. I had one birthday, we were doing a TV Guide cover shoot. I know, kids, you don't know what TV Guide is. And my grandmother had died that week. And he sent me my normal birthday, and then he sent me flowers for my grandmother passing away. He was just that kind of producer that is very, very, very rare.
Yeah.
It's amazing. We've done 5 of these so far, and the reoccurring theme of how spectacularly special he was and how caring he was. It's universal, and he touched every single person that we've spoken with, and clearly all 4 of us. We all have these kind of very personal moments with him.
Yeah,
he was so unique and so special. I'm so grateful that we all got to experience that kind of level of care and loyalty, so loyal, and again the nuance of he really was invested every single. Not only in the success of the show, but the success of you. He wanted you to be and create you an environment where you got to succeed to the best of your abilities.
And Dorian did, because he survived. He survived the whole show.
Yeah, man. You were from the beginning to the end.
Yeah, that's
crazy. No small feat.
Yeah.
No small feat.
No small feat.
Yeah. You guys made it easy and enjoyable. And, the heavy lifting, of course, the obvious was with you guys. I came in and did my thing, and you made it was always warm. Jumping from Aaron to the set, all of you embraced me warmly, and Aaron, whenever I would cross his path, I felt that he really was cognizant of my being there, and I felt connected, and he just took the time to really acknowledge and be present. And for me, as far as my experience and my journey, that's what I felt when I was in any exchange with anybody there. It was just warmth. We had a job to do, and I tried to do my best to you can't get that confused. There's a job to do, and it's a very serious job, and people have to be on their game, and people have a lot to get through in a day. So you have to balance the friendship with the fact of staying connected to the fact there's real work going on here.
Right. Well, we were always very happy to see you because that means we didn't have to just work with each other.
Yeah. Well, thanks.
Yeah,
we were getting bored of each other already. Jesus, send us new blood.
Thank you. Thank you.
Episode 5. Far out.
So you say you didn't watch your work, and I'm like you. I can't. It's hard for me to watch anything I do. But knowing the concept of this show, knowing witches and what have you, what did you think of that whole genre coming into it and going forward? Did you watch anything that you weren't in of the show to kind of see where it fell conceptually and what the show was going for? Or were you just more of the artist, like I come in, I do my thing and leave it on the table there?
That's a good question, man. Magic, call it what you will, but life is possibility. And that's what the definition of magic to me is. So I bought in on the premise of the show from the outset, as far as family, possibility, and finding the most of yourself and understanding what that means. And when you start talking about connectivity with friends, you start talking about the balance of work. When you start talking about you evolving as a person and understanding the truths of what you want and what you don't want, going back to magic. Hence, let's talk about Dream Sorcerer. Dreams are the masters of men. Dreams are the masters because dreams are possibility. And so everybody having the unbounded possibility of what magic is, and which is what this show is, and also staying grounded to what is important and what makes your life relevant as far as friends and family are concerned, as well as what gives you a feeling of significance. And oftentimes you confuse that feeling of significance is work. And finding that balance is what they did and what the storyline was for me, and understanding what family is. Going back to just this episode, since this is what anchors this podcast, love. So that's an easy thing that a universal truth that everybody can relate to. And we all have this list, right? And this list is not necessarily what you want. And that's what the show revealed. Everything you think you want, sure, it's in there, but that's not what love is. It's undefinable. Piper said it in the episode. You can't define love. Love is magic. And that's true. You don't know until you're hit by it. And oftentimes when you're hit by it, it's nothing like you thought.
True.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. You like this episode more now?
No, I just like Dorian.
3.5.
Yeah.
5 stars.
Thank you.
Buddy, it really is so good to see you. You look amazing.
I appreciate it.
He's literally like a fine wine.
Yeah,
what
you
goes
look
on?
So handsome.
Thank
so
you.
handsome.
We need to go back to bed.
When I had told them that
we
had connected and that you're coming, I'd sent them a photo that I'd pulled off of Instagram. Like, Jesus, look at this guy.
I appreciate it. I know we've all been on through our roads. It's been a road. And so happy that I am where I am right now. I mean, we're not going to bring in all the COVID and all that stuff that happened throughout the country. But it's been an interesting time that I have witnessed as far as everybody I'm surrounded by, and including my own personal journey. Won't get into that as far as just family and health and all that. But whoa, I'm so glad to be here. And I'm just happy about who I am currently.
That's awesome.
Yay.
Yeah.
I love hearing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's beautiful.
That hits my heart good. I love that.
Can you tell us, what are you working on right now? What are you up to?
I wish I could, and soon I will. But working on something that we'll put that aside. Music, poetry. Always been a writer, and I do a lot of work anonymously because I wanted to. One of the poems that are anonymous hit me the hardest because I've got nothing to, it's just me and my processing of it. I don't know anything about the author. I don't know anything that I'm going to assign to this work. It's just the truth of the words that are on the page that are speaking to me. So case in point, always been a writer, was a writer before the show, done poetry before the show, done music before the show, continue to do that. And a lot of what I put out, I've got a story, Enad and Levi, that I'm working on right now, which is a script. I have a book of poetry that I'm working on that I will assign my name to, even though there are works out there that I don't. Enad Levi, interesting enough, Enad, spelled backwards is done. Levi, spelled backwards, is evil. And Levi is live. And it's about Enad, done, live, which is evil, the journey through life. Can be the journey through life, the tests that come before you. And once you reach the end, then you're done. Hence, Enad's at the very beginning, coming in relationship with Levi. And Levi has all these challenges he sends this way, and he has no idea it's coming from Levi. Anyway, so what am I working on? Working on that, and working on coming into a new phase where making people more and more aware of things that they don't know that I've been doing forever. And that's kind of it.
Cool. Amazing.
I just have to say, one of my favorite moments on set was when I heard, I was sitting off set somewhere and I heard, no, Dorian can't come in until later. No, he's not available. No, he's got Soul Train.
Oh, that.
And I went, what? He's got what? Oh my God, I died. I was so happy for you. I watched it.
Thank you. That was crazy, and I don't even have any words for that. Something I get a chance to be a part of things in multiple times in my life that I grew up with, and I never fathomed I'd be a part of. I mean, when we started talking about the trifecta here, don't want to embarrass you, but Holly and Shannon and Alyssa and all these pieces of history of television history, or I want to say history pages in television, very important pages and chapters in television. Aaron Spelling, important pages and chapters in television and film. My God. And another thing that I got to experience in Soul Train, Don Cornelius, that was wild. I had done a guest host on his show 7 years, and I had known after he reached back out that 7 years previous that he always had me in mind to be the replacement and permanent host. And so there I was, 36 years on air is crazy,
Amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Thank you.
It was so ridiculous. It was so amazing. I was like, he's the one having the most fun.
Come on. You are so you are so modest.
No.
That's all I got to say.
Well, Dorian, will you come back and play with us again sometime? Obviously, we have...
Of course.
We only have a few left to do.
We only have 183 more of these
and Dorian's going to be the good part in a lot of them. I'm going to tell you right now. Yeah, we need to go back to Paris.
We've been all over the country, right? We need to go back to.
We've been all over the world.
We've been all over the world.
Yeah.
Paris is home, right? I think that's when
Paris is home.
It kind of feels like it.
Yeah, it's
definitely
if you're listening to this, if you're watching
the charmed home base is Paris.
It really is. That's where we're all our happiest. I've never seen Brian so happy in my entire life.
I've never seen Brian more famous than Leo at the Moulin Rouge.
Rolling through the streets of Paris.
Kill how we had fun touring Paris together.
Oh
That's great.
God. Those are honestly some of, when we're all there for those conventions, those are some of my most favorite travel memories I've ever had in my life. It's the best. It's home away from home for me. Paris has always been that way.
Everywhere, man. I mean, Paris specifically, I've got really fond memories of Italy and Paris and the us being abroad and just
charmed.
I love the when we get to go to all these countries and we see how everybody has processed what we've done and just being able to see, just being in real on the ground, hand to hand contact with people who've enjoyed the whatever this is, So I look forward to going back to Paris.
I guess that's the last question. Would you have ever imagined you came in, you're auditioning for Aaron in the massive room and the V, you're getting squared down to the last two guys, you wait 5 days, here you are, you're doing it. I mean, to look 25, 30 years later, could you have imagined episode 5 that you would be a part of something that was going to last?
No one
for so
ever
long?
could or ever does or ever has. We're in rare air, and this has got nothing to do with any individual. It's got to do with the team effort that we were and the magic of Aaron's eye. But no, and shows don't normally go this long. We have not been off air for 25 years, and we're international for 25 years and stayed domestically alive for 25 years. This doesn't happen, and it's always surreal to me to be a part of such a unique, rarefied air journey.
Yeah. Well, I think the fans would agree with me is that the show wasn't the show without you and what you brought to it as well. And so I think I speak for all of us. It's so nice to connect with you, and always great to see you. And I can't wait till we see you in person.
I appreciate
see how
that.
big those freaking guns are getting, man.
He always survives.
You don't know how
Looking
wonderful it is
good.
to see you guys again. I can't wait. I can't wait for us to get out of the country again. I can't wait for the future episodes. And I got so much more to say now. I'm just getting warmed up. I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to stay for another episode. Appreciate you guys.
Listen, man, you might be getting a call from me in less than a week.
I
I
appreciate
haven't
you.
watched this next episode yet. But I'll let you know real quickly.
You got it, man.
Goals.
Great to see you. Thank
Great
you.
to see you too,
Thanks,
man. Thank you
Steve.
so much, Dorian, for taking time out of your day to do this.
Fantastico.
Fantastic. Dorian Gregory. Crushing life.
He's fantastic.
Looking good.
Yeah, he looks
Looking
great.
damn
BK, something to
good.
strive for. Get that
Goals.
mustache going.
The energy is
Goals.
just heartwarming and pure and honest. It's what a great human, and I guess more kudos to Aaron and the people that he eventually brought together, real humans with real connections. And, I think that's where it left us, episode 5. The writing that may not have worked, the photography that may not have worked, but, the chemistry of the actresses and the actors really is what this show is about and what made it go forward. And I think that's what I was saying before is you'll keep watching, I think, as a fan, just seeing what, the people and what they're bringing and the life they brought to it. And he was kind of a testament to that.
It lives to see another day.
Holly, now that we've kind of really broken this episode down, dove in the pool, swam around, you've heard Dorian speak, Brian speak. Are we still sticking at half star? You want to bump that up a little bit?
No, we get a half star for Dorian.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Savage.
The half star is for him and his parts. That's it.
Fair enough.
Skip to the end.
We'll skip to the next. Well, thank you everyone for checking this episode out. This and all future episodes you can find on whatever podcast platform you listen to, Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, etc.
All the things. Like and subscribe. All the things.
Yeah, like and subscribe though, for real. That's a big thing. And special shout out to our Patreon members. You guys are the best. We wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for you. So thank you so much. That's it for the House of Halloween.